After Arthas and Illidan would have an epic fight, of course Illidan would be defeated, and that would leave the Naga and the Blood Oaths with an injured commander. So Lady Vashj and Kael'thas decided to drag Illidan's body from there, and they went back to Outland to hide from the wrath of Kil'jaeden. A month would pass after Arthas' ascension as the Lich King, and Illidan would finally recover from his injuries. There he would order that Magtheridon be moved to Hellfire Citadel. It would also be then that Illidan would be informed that Kael'thas took his Blood Oaths to close a Legion portal in the Netherstore, a very rich mana zone in Outland. Speaking about the Blood Oaths, you have to understand that when Kael'thas went to Outland, he only took like 15% of the remaining Blood Oaths with him, and they were taken with him to find a cure for their addiction. But Kael'thas wouldn't forget his duties to the Sindarai, to his people, and so Kael'thas sent his ever-loyal servant, Grand Magister Romat, to teach the remaining Blood Oaths how to drain magical powers from objects and creatures. Back in Silvermoon, through Grand Magister Romat, of course, Kael'thas proclaimed Lor'temar Theron as Regent Lord of Kael'thas until the prince would rejoin them. Now, you see, during the negotiation for the Blood Oaths to enter the Horde, it is presumed that Kael'thas provided information to the Blood Oaths in Azeroth that there are still uncorrupted orcs in Outland, as a way to garner the favors of the Orc War Chief, Thrall. Now, time would pass since Illidan's defeat, and he, at this point, would create an army of demon hunters to invade the homeworld of the Burning Legion, Argus. Among the ranks of the demon hunters, some of Kael'thas' best warriors were incorporated. Kael'thas thought that he could use the same method as the demon hunters used to satisfy their hunger. But the more fell magic he consumed, the more paranoid he became, thinking himself as a failure to his people, and he really thought that was the way they viewed him. Some believe that because of the fell magic he consumed, he became more unstable. At this point, Kael'thas was second-guessing his leaving to Outland, probably not thinking how the other option would have been execution for him and his people. But yet he thought this mission to be a failure, since he was no closer to finding a cure to his people's addiction, and he didn't want to return to Kael'thas without a cure. Now, as we all know, the devil comes to you in your worst moments. And it was in this state of turmoil and despair that Kael'thas was visited by Kil'jaeden. You see, like any devil, Kil'jaeden tried to sway Kael'thas to his side, telling him how Illidan only sees him and his people as tools, how he secretly keeps the cure for their addiction from them. And, like the devil, Kil'jaeden promised him a solution to his problems, if only he would reject his current master and follow him instead. Now, initially, Kael'thas refused, but the poison that Kil'jaeden put in his mind started to spread, and more doubts started to creep in Kil's mind. Now, sometime after that, Kael'thas would send one of his best generals to assault Shatra City, Vorental the Seer. He would also ask Illidan to let his demon hunters assist in the attack. Of course, Illidan refused, and that angered the prince, making his doubts grow even stronger. But you know what didn't help Kil? That Vorental and his men would throw their weapons and deflect to the side of Shatra City. You have to understand that some of Kil's best magistrates were part of that army. And of course, Kil saw this as a sign of his own failure and inability to lead his people. Now, remember that Kael'thas wasn't happy with Illidan not helping him? Well, that wouldn't get any better because Illidan would become more and more absorbed in his plan to defeat the Burning Legion. And that would make Illidan grow more distant to his other servants, Akama, Lady Vashj, and yes, Kael'thas and his Blood Oaths. You see, not telling anybody about his plan didn't help Illidan. The rift between him and Kael'thas would only grow, with Kael ending up believing that Illidan had abandoned his promise to his people. The Sindarai prince turned to the promise of the devil, having no other option left. After taking Kil'jaeden's offer, Kael'thas and his servants would claim the magic-rich zone of Netherstorm. And while they're in a big act of FU to the Kirin Tor and to Dalaran, he ordered the destruction of Kirin-Var, a village created by the Kirin Tor during the invasion of Draenor in the Second War. Now you see, Kjell would forcibly take the Tempest Keep by slaughtering all the Draenei that lived there. The Draenei had to escape in their spaceship, the Exodar, their last remaining one, to avoid being butchered for the third time this time around. They really can't get a break, can they? But while fleeing, they left behind an important asset, the Naru Muru. This Naru would be sent to Silvermoon City so that the remaining Blood Elves could feed upon his powers. From time to time, Kael'thas would send mana cells harvested in the Netherstorm, and his people back on Azeroth still looked at him as a benevolent prince that still cared about his people. But that impression would change once the dark portal that brought the orcs into Azeroth opened again. You see, the Horde and Alliance started entering into Outland, and Kael'thas and his Sun Fury Blood Elves, as they were called back then, would welcome Blood Elf pilgrims into their ranks. Yet Kael'thas seemed to care little for them, and the pilgrims found themselves disillusioned once they have been granted menial tasks and servitude. Now, I'm going to say this here because it's going to be important for the future, and I don't really know where else to put this. Illidan, before he started to isolate himself with his plan, granted both Lady Vashj and Kael'thas the Vials of Eternity. You see, those vials contain the magical waters from the Well of Eternity. The same water that created the Sunwell. Keep that in mind as we go further down this rabbit hole. It's gonna be very important later on. Okay, good. Now that you have that in your brain pocket, let's talk about how the Alliance and the Horde found out about Kael'thas' deal with Kil'jaeden. And they would find out while Vorental would interrogate, let's say that, deserting Blood Elves from the Sun Fury. Now, during the time the Horde and the Alliance were entering Outland, Kael'thas would send spies into Shadowmoon Valley to investigate upon the findings of the Earthen Ring. And from there, Kael'thas would gain an important weapon, the Cipher of Damnation, which is presumably the same spell that Gul'dan used to serve the connection between the land and the orcs. Also presumably the same spell that was used by the Dark Iron Dwarves to summon Ragnaros. Now Khadgar and the Naru Adal would try to sabotage Kael'thas' plan regarding the Cipher of Damnation. After Khadgar and Adal would recover the Cipher of Damnation, they would enact a plan to attack Kael'thas' Tempest Keep and end his threat upon Shatra and the rest of Outland.
Energy. Power. My people are addicted to it. A dependence may manifest after the Sunwell was destroyed. Welcome to the future. The people you are too late to stop it. No one can stop me now. Salam Ashalanore. Let us see how your nerves hold up against the Darkener, Thaladred.
Prepare yourselves!
You have persevered against some of my best advisors, but none can withstand the might of the Bloodhammer. Behold, Lord Sanguinar.
Blood for blood.
Permit me see to it that your stay here is a short one.
Thus endure I reign supreme! I'm out of range. I don't have a target.
You have proven worthy to test your skills against my master engineer, Telonicus.
Anarala Belore.
I need to target something first.
As you see, I have many weapons in my arsenal. Perhaps I underestimated you. It would be unfair to make you fight all 4 advisors at once, but fair treatment was never shown to my people. I'm just returning the favor.
Wait.
Alas, sometimes one must take matters into one's own hands.
I have come this far to be stopped! The future I have planned will not be jeopardized! Now you will taste true power! Anare, the Lore.
But that wasn't the end for Kael'thas. He would survive the attack on Tempest's Keep, and after that he would project himself in front of Adol to mock him for his failure. Good. So we saw that. The Alliance and the Horde felt a bit more preoccupied because they set their eyes upon the Black Citadel, and, well, of course, Illidan. And Kael'thas, since he survived, he would be returning home. Finally, the promised prince of the Sin'dorei has come back, but not the handsome and noble prince of the Sunstrider dynasty, but more an insane, wretched abomination that did not come with salvation, but with doom. Because Kael'thas would use his vial of eternity to reinvigorate the Sunwell, not to cure the addiction of his people, but to bring forth Kil'jaeden and start a new invasion of the Burning Legion, to recreate the events of the Well of Eternity. He would take residence in Magistrate's Terrence upon Kael'thas, and there he was preparing to summon his Demon Lord. Until...
So smug. I know what you're thinking. But Tempest's Keep was merely a setback. Did you honestly believe I would trust the future to some blind, half-night elf mongrel? Oh, no. He was merely an instrument, a stepping stone to a much larger plan. It has all led to this. And this time, you will not interfere.
The Madden Prince fought his attackers, but ultimately, he failed once more.
accomplishes nothing. The Master will have you. You will drown in your own blood. The world shall burn.
In the end, the Sunwell would end up being reforged thanks to the Naru Muru. Kael'thas' betrayal made it possible for the Sunwell to be remade. And, funnily enough, Kael'thas finally brought the cure to his people. His last remains lay in Kael'thas.